Hello there and welcome to episode 6 of Winning the War with Ring of Honor and AEW. Now, I'm going to be straight up and honest with you here. I'm going to be trying something different in this episode, experimenting a little bit with the format, and I would appreciate any comments on that at all. Like, whether you guys like it, or if it's a one-off. This is an experiment, I'm not saying this is going to be how all the videos are going forward, but I want to give it a try like this, and just see how it turns out. That's what I want to try and do. So, if you'll give me a chance with that, let's get into 2 hours of Friday Night Rampage, head-to-head with SmackDown. And the show kicks off with Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan in the ring, and this is what I meant when I said experimental. Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan in the ring, and they're calling out Nyla Rose. They've got a match with Marina Shafir today. And they're calling out Nyla Rose, Vicky Guerrero, and Marina Shafir. And out they come. Nyla Rose, Vicky Guerrero, and Marina Shafir come out afterwards. And, Nyla Rose is very charismatic. Vicky Guerrero isn't, but she's a good heel. And so, obviously, Jade got a belt back last week, and Nyla's now promising that at Full Gear, she's going to hold that title for real. And there is nothing that Jade can do to stop her. So overall gets the 57 rating. Some good positives for everyone involved. Announcing commentary, Kiera, Nyla, Vicky, and Stokely, who for some reason is still involved in this act. I didn't realise, don't know why. But 57 is a pretty good opening segment. We go straight into that match. And here is that match. Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir. It's quite a simple match. It's quite good, but the winner is Jade Cargill. As you could probably expect. I mean, it's not much of a surprise reveal. Jade Cargill beats Marina Shafir, dominates the match, gets a 45 compared to Marina's 27. Vicky Guerrero's at ringside, Stokely's at ringside, because he's part of this act. Kiera's at ringside, and Nyla's at ringside. Nyla goes actually and jumps up on commentary for this match, which is pretty fun. 27 though, not a great in-ring start to this show. We then get a segment backstage where it's Danhausen. He's talking to his fellow best friends who, lest we forget, are all members of Chaos. Orange Cassidy, Trent, Chuck and Rocky Romero. And Danhausen is hyping them up for this big 8-man main event tonight, where Chaos takes on the Blackpool Combat Club. Gets a 53, Danhausen's funny. It's a bit of comedy, Orange Cassidy does a bit of comedy. It's all a bit of fun. Which leads us straight into our next match, as Bandido takes on Rey Fenix. A bit of a Lucha Libre spectacular here. Bandido versus Rey Fenix, great stuff. But the winner is Rey Fenix, because, he's part of the 6-man tag team champions. He's going to be the winner. He picks up the win in a great match, decent match according to the game, which honestly usually means it's a pretty good match. Rey Fenix defeats Bandido with a Meteora. High spots galore. All out. And they just showcase this. Which leads to the Death Triangle get in the ring and they celebrate together when the lights cut out. The lights cut out, and when they've returned, the Elite are in the ring, staring them down. And the Elite make the first strike. Ironic. Kenny Omega hits the V-trigger on Pac. They hit a double super kick on Penta before the Bucks hit the Meltzer driver onto Rey Fenix. Penta's still in the middle of the ring, and he gets the BTE trigger. The Elite are back. They pose down the camera. They've made their intentions very clear. 68 rating. Next up, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter pick up the victory against Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. When Britt Baker submits Toni Storm, which isn't the result I was expecting. But Britt Baker does now have a victory over the current AEW Interim Women's Champion. Well, surely that's going to throw a bit of contention, considering Jamie Hayter is currently the #1 contender. Gets a 57 overall. Storm and Shida do not work as a team, which is unfortunate, but pretty good stuff overall. 64 for Britt does carry the match. Next up, we get MJF coming out to the ring, and he is interrupted by Stokely Hathaway. And Stokely talks about betrayal. People you thought were friends. People you thought had common interests, vested interests. That's what he thought MJF was. But no, MJF is just as weak as all the people he's been preying on. MJF used to be the predator. Now, he's just the prey. Gets a 74, which is a great in-ring promo. MJF, great on the mic. Stokely, great on the mic. 74 is very strong. And Ty Mello and Anna J.A.S. are backstage, and they're taunting Willow Nightingale, which they've been doing for a while now. You know, both of them have beaten Willow with interference from the other, but Willow isn't taking the taunting the way TJ expect. And it starts to frustrate them a little, which is why they're a bit surprised when they see Athena coming to the assistance of Willow Nightingale. Athena comes along, and they stare down TJ, and it is announced later on in the show that on Dynamite we will be getting Athena versus Ty Mello. Gets a 42 rating. Great stuff. Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer goes just under 12 minutes. So it is a showcase match. It's two guys who haven't been used yet in this save. Probably should be used more than they are. But a very fun match. Honestly, this does feel like a match I would enjoy watching in real life. Kingston picks up the win, of course, with the back fist of the future. Being younger, there is also a lot more upside in Eddie Kingston than there is Lance Archer. And I do think Eddie Kingston does deserve to be elevated to a much higher level. Although even he hates the word of deserved in wrestling. 63 though is pretty good. 65 for Kingston. 60 for Archer. Archer still does have it. He's going to make a very good, well, jobber to the stars, really. That's kind of the role Lance Archer's in. And then we cut backstage, and the Elite are being interviewed by, we'll say Lexi Nair, we'll say Renee Paquette, any of them, take your pick. And they announce that all three of them will be returning to the ring on Dynamite. They didn't say if it's a trios or it's separate matches, but all three of them will be returning to the ring. Callis is with them, Cutler's with them, Nakazawa's with them. The Elite are back as a package. Boy, am I looking forward to actually getting to use them now. And then, our main event. The Blackpool Combat Club. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta versus Chaos. Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero, and the best friends of Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. This honestly, if you were to write this on paper, Blackpool Combat Club versus Chaos, you'd call it a dream match. Probably not in this iteration. You're probably not this version of Chaos, but I still think it's a dream match in there. You know, if this was like Okada, Ishii, Yano, and Goto, or Yoshihashi and Goto, ooh, what a dream match. But there's a lot of distraction in this match. Stokely Hathaway comes out onto the ramp and distracts Moxley. Okada is here. He's not in Japan today. And he distracts Danielson. Leaving Claudio and Yuta pretty much to fight this match on their own. And they do well. And it is Wheeler Yuta who ends up picking up the victory when he locks in the Yuta lock on Chuck Taylor, making him tap out. Gets a 66 overall. And as you can see, great chemistry from Yuta and Regal. Cassidy is a hot new... Orange Cassidy has a hot new move. I think that may be an oxymoron. But in terms of performance, Danielson was the best as we'd expect. Moxley was close, again as we'd expect. Then is Castagnoli and Cassidy. Followed by best friends, Yuta and Rocky Romero dragging up the rear. And then, there's still one more segment left on this show. Now, I'll admit, I haven't put everybody in this segment because I thought there was just too many people. This is a big number of people segment. But it's Danielson and Okada facing off in the middle of the ring. Moxley's with Stokely on the outside, and then suddenly the entire firm runs in and attacks. W. Morrissey, Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, the Guns all start attacking. And it is Chaos and the Blackpool Combat Club, the two teams that were just fighting, and Danielson and Okada, who are feuding over the All-Atlantic Championship, standing together with Moxley to clear out the firm. Gets a 78 rating overall. It probably could have got a lot better, but I really need to sort out these road agents, because Madison Rain, Brandon Cutler, quite a few of them, Nakazawa, I think, aren't putting in great ratings whenever they're agenting a segment. Which makes the question, though, what did this show get overall? Gets a 69. Nice. Rocky Romero, slightly overused. It was in a segment and a match, which, to be fair, for someone unimportant, is a bit overuse. One or the other, usually. But, increase our pop in 30 regions. Now, I want you to let me know what you thought of the experimental style, which, yes, if you've noticed, was based on the mistake I made in the last episode. But I want you to let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.